just started talking about like how much you mean to me, how special you are to me, and how like I want to spend like the rest of my life with you. And then I like got on one knee, so it got like way more dramatic than I thought I planned it out to be. But
well, that's great.
Yeah, thank you.
Did she hesitate, or did she say
no?
yes?
She said.
Welcome back, everyone. Craig and Jonah here today, and Sam. And for once, we're not the earliest risers here, so it's a little after 6 a.m. and we like to give ourselves our pat on the back as the dads that we're up early. But Sam, what time is it there?
It's 4:12 in the morning.
Holy cow!
Wow,
you are. Maybe when we did one of the Aussies, the Australians.
Yeah, we had to get up that early.
But yeah, I think you're the official. Winner of the earliest interview award. So Sam, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us as little or as much as you want, realizing this clip will eventually be seen by the world. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and then let's start talking.
So I'm a college student. I'm a senior. I pretty much been a cradle Catholic my entire life. How much information? I'm trying to figure out a way to like.
Well, but let me do this. You're engaged. You're down to the final countdown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 3 weeks.
How long have you been engaged?
We've been engaged since Thanksgiving of last year.
Okay. That's not too bad.
No.
Yeah.
And you got 3 weeks left to D-Day, huh?
Yeah, 3 weeks.
Okay. All right. So you grew up a cradle Catholic, and then your fiance. What can you tell us about her?
She also grew up cradle Catholic as well. She loves photography and loves baking. We both met through some friends that we were in like an online group chat together, and we've been friends for a pretty good while before we started dating. So once we started dating, it was easier because we were already friends, so there wasn't that like weird awkward phase of like, do I even like her as a friend, like instead of just like this romantic attraction. So
you didn't have to swipe left or swipe right?
No, thank God. No, it was pretty obvious. Like once we like started hanging out more in person, that like, oh yeah, there's something here.
And you've had something of a long distance relationship. You're not in the same state most of the time, right?
No, we're not.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 years.
Okay. So you've been engaged since Thanksgiving. So this is August. So
and how long have you been dating?
We've been dating for 2 years.
Okay. That seems about right. The trads would get squeamish about that length of time.
Yeah, that's too long of a period of time to.
Yeah. I initially wanted longer, so I kind of I chickened out. I was like, I can't wait this long.
Can we ask if you've managed to stay the course, buddy?
In what sense?
Let's be a complete act.
Let's say respect with her. I don't need to get into
nothing there.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's pretty good.
Good for you.
Yeah,
good for you.
I think we've stayed the course.
Well, that's good. I wanted to ask that too, but I
no, you're fine. You're fine, Joe.
We did too, but that was because my wife had a lot more willpower than I did. So
thou shalt not pass.
Yeah. Yep. So that's what I tell my sons. I'm like, find yourself a woman who will stop you because you probably won't be able to.
Yeah, that helps a lot, actually. It's
so good. All right.
That's great.
So
you got a lot to look forward to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So is she more of a traditionalist then?
Yeah, she grew up going to the FSSB her entire life.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Is it going to be a Latin mass wedding then?
Yes.
Alrighty.
I didn't grow up with the FSSP. I didn't really know about them till like high school, because I went to a more conservative Catholic school, which had like a big homeschool population. So that's kind of how I got introduced to Gregorian chant, Latin, the more traditional side of Catholicism. Whereas I kind of grew up like a Novus Ordo conservative Catholic, like Divine Mercy, JP2, Benedict XVI. But like the Latin Mass was never really like introduced to me at a young age. It was mostly just the new Mass.
What can you tell us about marriage prep? What that's been like? What you learned, if anything, NFP type stuff? What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so we went through her FSSP parish and partially through the Archdiocese. It was, I'd say, a pretty good experience. It was a mix of reading material, being in person for like multiple hours with like other married couples, which we felt like the youngest couple there. Like everyone there was like at least like in their late 20s, like up to like their 40s or 50s. So that was kind of an interesting experience. But yeah, it was a mix of reading material. So we had to read Casti Connubii, the encyclical.
What?
Really?
Wait. What?
Yeah, we had to read the whole Casti Connubii for.
How many pages is that?
It's not super long.
It's not super long.
Okay.
Oh my!
Yeah, so we got through it by. So she came out for when I proposed to her. She came out for I think it was that Thanksgiving. So then we drove back to her family so that we could celebrate together. And she just read like all of Casti Connubii for that like multiple hour drive. So that was very interesting.
Wow, that's not.
How did you propose?
Yeah.
So we went to morning mass and we went to the parish like I grew up going to. That's like really important to my family. And after mass, we went to like this very special Marian statue that's kind of special to my family. And we kind of prayed there before it. And then I don't know what I was thinking. My plan was just to like pray and then just like surprise her with like getting on one knee. But for some reason, in that moment just started babbling about like, just, well, not babbling. That's a bad word to use, but like
quoting Casti Connubii and stuff. Or
I just started talking about like how much you mean to me, how special you are to me, and how like I want to spend like the rest of my life with you. And then I like got on one knee, so it got like way more dramatic than I thought I planned it out to be. But
well, that's great.
Yeah, thank you.
Did she hesitate, or did she say
no?
Yes,
she said it. She said it right away. But right. Yeah, I feel like I was more louder than her because we were still in the church and there were still people praying. So it created this weird like awkward where I was talking like it was normal, but like there were women still praying. So
did they start clapping then in the back?
No one did. It was frankly I would have felt a little awkward, but yeah.
Is it so like when my wife and we were dating for a while, we knew we were going to get married for a while, and we had kind of an anniversary coming up of when we met, and more or less like we had gone ring shopping and stuff. So in her mind, that's when I was going to propose, and that is when I was going to propose. And then I was like, heck with that. I called an audible. I moved it up. So so she was surprised when I did it, not that I did it. How about you? Yeah. Was it something that she knew was coming or not?
Yeah, so it's kind of similar to you. I kind of lied to her for like multiple months about like, oh, I'm gonna do it like on New Year's. I'm gonna do it then. I'm gonna come out because I had Christmas break from school till like early January. So I was telling her like, yeah, I'm gonna propose to you then. Like, wait for it. It's coming up. But I was like, screw it. I'll just move it to Thanksgiving because I don't want to wait. Yeah, so I kept like telling her like, hey, look forward to this. Like, it'll be really exciting. But like, she kind of knew. And I don't know how she did. I thought I covered my tracks pretty well.
Women are funny that way.
My wife also knew. So I took her fishing on this really secluded lake, and I caught a fish. It wasn't a whale, but I put the ring inside the fish's mouth, and I told
setting
her
it up, man. You set it up.
She wasn't into catch and release. Like,
I carefully held the fish. Like, come over here and take a look at this.
You left
fish
no
smell.
room
It's
for
got
doubt.
something in there.
well, when I did it, I went to town. I had to drive to another state to get the ring, and my car broke down.
Think that was a sign?
I was like, I'm busted because I'm gonna have to tell her to come get me, and she's like, what the heck are you doing at the jewelry store? But I had enough ingenuity. I managed to get the car running. That was back when you could kind of fix things.
That's impressive.
Because that's how old I am.
What was wrong with it? Like that you could do it yourself?
Don't even remember. It was something with the starter, and
wow.
I always carry tools around with me and extra fan belts and stuff like that.
No wonder she was head over heels for you.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, a total package, right?
She get you tool sets for Christmas every year?
She does, because our kids just lose them. So it's kind of
hopefully not the sharp ones.
Yeah. No, just I tell her, just don't buy good stuff. Just buy the cheapest stuff now, because
till the kids move out.
Go out with a metal detector and find all the 10 millimeters laying around the yard.
Hit them with the lawnmower.
Yeah. Okay. So got you engaged. I got to ask a little more about this marriage prep. Casti Connubii, really? Did they read? Did you have to read Humani Vitae, or was that's too modern for the FSP?
No, we didn't read Humani Vitae. We did have a couple of meetings where we were reading from, like, Aquinas on the nature of marriage.
I mean, does it get much more romantic than that? Wow.
Yeah.
We had like hour-and-a-half meetings with like one of the pastors about it.
That'll get you ready for your wedding night.
Oh my! Wow. That'll get you through the abstinence periods. I don't know.
So, when you met with the other married couples, did they give you any solid advice?
Yeah. I mean, not really. I mean, we talked to some of them, but like most of them were already like living together and like already kind of like they kind of had like a groove. They had a vibe of like, oh, we're already married. We're just doing this just to like, because I grew up Catholic and it would be good for my family, or we converted, so we want to get married in the church, because they were already civilly married. So, I mean, not trying to judge them, of course, but that was just from talking to them and the vibe that we got from them when we had breaks between like meetings. Most of those meetings, because those are more based on like the archdiocese and like their material. So we have to, most of it was just tailored towards like contraception and like not sleeping together because you're not technically married. Well, you are married, but you know, more about contraception and how you shouldn't be using that.
Yeah.
And kind of more going over the nature of marriage. And, you know, it was more older couples, which I didn't really appreciate because they were talking about NFP. And I felt like, you know, if you're going to talk about NFP with us, I would appreciate if you were a younger couple. Not that there's anything wrong with their experience, or not that there's anything.
Old like me, or like
really, I was wondering
really
old.
Slightly older.
Okay, slightly.
You're not that old, man. You're not that old. Yeah, just slightly older. I'd say about like 5 years, 7 years. You could tell they were like nearing their, like in their 60s or nearing it. Yeah, I mean, it was still great. I was still moved by the testimonies they gave, but I think as a younger person, it would have been nice to have like someone around my age.
What sort of testimonies, like about difficulties in marriage and
mostly difficulties and how contraception wrecked their marriages.
No kidding. How did it wreck their marriages?
They just felt like using contraception affect their connection to each other, and it felt like they were dehumanizing each other whenever they would do the act, and it also caused health problems as well.
Sure.
And they mixed that in with Catholic teaching, as well as just how NFP reinforces church teaching on the act. And I'm trying to avoid using the word for monetization reasons.
Monetization reasons? Yeah, don't worry about that.
Yeah, I mean, I want to help. I want to help you guys like make some money. You guys need it, man. Like but like
we're almost to 500 subscribers. I think.
Hey, that's something.
Can,
hey, that is
they'll
something.
just start rolling in that.
Yeah,
you're gonna start raking in that Mr. Beast money.
I'm gonna have like
Mr. Beast money.
You're gonna be giving out $1,000 for every testimony.
I'll be wearing jewelry and big gold.
You're definitely a jewelry guy.
Necklaces.
I don't think you're that type of
D.
guy. I think you like it simple and plain. But
it's interesting that they would talk about how contraception caused a lack of connection in their marriage. And I mean, I don't have any experience with that, to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, there was, especially for the men there, it was a lot about how it kind of severed the connection with their wives at the time.
Did these guys also have experience with NFP?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is,
I'm going to take their word with it. So,
yeah, we started using NFP when we were 45 or whatever like that.
They never told us when, but I'm going to assume that they would out of good faith.
And I was just listening to a talk by Andrew Huberman yesterday about this in regards to how contraception changes the female fertility cycle as far as hormones, and they're not pheromones, but something like that. But men can perceive their wife's fertility cycle, and it increases testosterone in them and causes them to be more attracted to them. But if that was gone, and that's what happens with the birth control pill, it changes that. So it's interesting to think about like that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, it was all interesting testimony. I thought it was great. We both loved it. Yeah, it was. And then we went from that to, once we got finished with that, we got the certification for that. We would go back to her parish and then to the FSSP pastor, and we would do those final meetings where we would, yeah. And then we also read Sheen's 3 to Get Married.
What's it called?
Fulton Sheen's 3 to Get Married.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Old book.
What did you think of that?
What
did you think of that book? I've never read it.
I liked it. I love Sheen's writing. He's up there with me. I think I prefer Benedict just a little bit more, but Sheen definitely has his moments, especially in his writings.
I do love Fulton Sheen too.
Yeah, he's a great man. He reminds me. He's got that like especially when he's like performing. He's got that like what's that word? Thespian energy.
Well, it's amazing to think that Charlie Sheen is named after him, or like he chose that name.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just odd.
Mm-hmm.
Fell a little farther from the tree.
Yeah, it might be obvious, but I preferred Fulton Sheen over Connubii because Connubii felt very truncated and clunky to hear. I mean, it was understandable, but it was just very like, this does not seem like something you read on an afternoon drive.
John Farrell will be excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd maybe that's where I went wrong.
Marriage prep.
Yeah. He could offer courses. Yeah. You probably still have time to squeeze one in. I won't say anymore. I did not read. I mean, I've read Casti Connubii a number of times, and I actually think I read before we got married when I was doing college papers on this stuff. But it wouldn't be something I would normally want. I don't think I would. That would be my first choice to read with my future wife about stuff. But
I'm the odd man out here. I've never read it.
Yeah, you're probably not. You're not missing that much. Okay. So get along. Now, you don't have to tell us this. So did you guys go ahead and learn NFP, or what, how did that go down?
I mean, we hadn't really gone through like a course. It wasn't really something that we felt comfortable going to the diocese, and if we wanted to learn about it, we kind of did our own research on it, and we talked to our pastor about it, and he was totally chill with it. Yeah, it was just something that we kind of did our own research on, and yeah, we we just didn't like what the archdiocese, their program on it was, and we just wanted to do our own research on it and kind of educate ourselves that way.
Like whether to do it or a method to use, or
whether to do it, the method, because like we kind of like if we were going to do this, we wanted to like research it, and we wanted to see if like this could work for our marriage at this point in our lives. It could be different once we're in it and we actually have kids. I mean, that's the nice thing I appreciate about my fiance is that we're excited. We have this like excitement for being in marriage, but we also know that like, oh, it's going to change us a lot. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just things change.
Yeah.
Can I physically probably too?
Yeah. Can I dig into that just a little bit? And I don't mean I'm not here to pick on you or your fiance, but I see this phenomenon coming up that I don't understand, and maybe you could help enlighten me, because I see this in traditional circles. Is like for us now, we were planning to wait a few years to have kids,
and you waited a few weeks.
We made it a month. Yeah, we made it a month. So
congratulations.
Yeah.
Iron will there.
Self-control hasn't gotten a whole lot better since then.
Suppose she saw you.
We weren't given that much time either.
Yeah, right. But but for us it was obvious. Well, now the methods have changed a little bit, and I'm going to try and keep this more or less PG for.
You got married so long ago, the methods are different now.
Well, they are.
So you want to keep it PG, but what I want to say, the actor is like, go.
We can say whatever here.
Okay, well, back when I was your age,
the dinosaurs were still roaming.
Yeah, it was. You were
those
looking at the moon and trying to figure out when your wife was fertile. And stuff. So we knew we wanted to learn it. We learned it. We learned. I think it's the Creighton, which uses symptoms of cervical mucus. So what? And the problem with that method is because it's so sensitive to mucus, one of the things you're going to find is once you are no longer single, there are bodily fluids getting exchanged, and that can be confusing for the wife when she is evaluating her cervical mucus. If you learn the method before you get married, she knows what she's looking for. Once you get married, what they told us is a lot of couples have to just go, have to abstain for like 3-4 cycles in a row so that she's looking purely at cervical mucus and not other stuff. And that didn't sound really attractive to me. And that sounded like a really bad idea.
You were willing to roll the dice.
Yeah. So now we have fertility monitors and stuff like that we use. So that's really not an issue, but I just remember them telling us, even if you don't want to use NFP, learn it now because you're already abstaining, so that if you get into married and you suddenly need to learn it, it's a lot easier to abstain now than it is during your marriage. And I totally agree with that. So, but it's too late for you. You got 3 weeks left. You don't have time to learn it. So you're going to have to go through this the hard way.
Unless he was lucky.
I mean, we did some research on it. We have still all the paperwork and the packets that we got from the Archdiocese, which are pretty resourceful, and they had links for further research. So, we're just keeping it as a tool in case we feel like we need to use it. Okay. Right now, we feel, God willing, that it goes well in that area. But yeah, it's just something that we're not really thinking about at the moment. But if we need to use it in the future, it's something we'll consider.
Okay. All right.
Well, we just for people that are listening to this, our plan is to do a subsequent interview some point.
Like the
I don't know what's
5 and 10 year mark, maybe. I don't know.
I think we're going to want I think we're going to want to check in with you at the 6 month or 1 year mark, and then
sure, let's do it.
A couple years out and whatever. because
Let's do it.
I see this as a very interesting science experiment for me. So
The sample size is small, but if anybody else wants to participate,
yeah,
let us know.
yeah. So what else? What else can you tell us about? Kind of what's coming up, or questions for the old geezers that you just couldn't ask those married couples in the marriage prep thing. Things you're just dying to know.
I mean, oh my gosh, those are good questions to ask. I mean, I've kind of noticed that. I think especially like for younger couples, there is like a lot of excitement, especially in like, oh, we're getting married, we're gonna lay down our lives for each other, we're going to be Christ-like to one another. But I think especially like after a year of being together, that kind of wears off, or like that like new car smell, if that's the word to use, kind of wears off, and you just have this other person you're with that you're bound to forever. well, until in this life.
Yep.
So what would your advice be for people who like are just out of that like new car smell to like still be loving and Christ-like to them, even though they get on your nerves?
I would say that it's really important to remember that love is an action and not a feeling, because that it's important to keep that in perspective. Somebody wrote, oh, is that our wedding shower? A woman that has a large Catholic family. I think they have 7 kids, and not on the Craig order of scale, but still quite large, I would say.
It's kind of small for Craig.
Not everyone can be this kind of an achiever.
Not everyone can achieve your feats.
But from the outside, most people would say that they had a really amazing family and marriage and that sort of thing. But as far as wedding advice, she told my wife, it's important that both of you don't fall out of love at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what she was talking about before we were married, but now that I've been married 13 years yesterday,
Congratulations.
there are time periods where it is really tough and you just have to keep going, and you just remind yourself that, it's not really about what you want a lot of the time. It's about what's right for your family and your wife, and you just kind of have to keep putting one foot in front of the other, and it does get better. Like, eventually things do improve, no matter how bad it might seem in that moment. And I mean, I think every couple goes through really difficult times. I don't know of anybody that I know well enough to talk about it that doesn't say they've gone through difficulties.
Well, yeah,
I think anybody could get divorced too. Like, as far as, I think there are certain moments where it gets really difficult and you could just throw in the towel. And I think that those moments happen to pretty much every couple.
Yeah. Don't assume that isn't always a risk. But I would say this, just because my situation parallels yours a little more. You're not going to probably have this luxury since you haven't learned NFP, but I would like to have had a year of just the two of us before we had kids. Like, looking back, if I could change anything, I would have, if we could do it all over again, give ourselves a year as a newly married couple to learn and just to do things. But my wife, I mean, we were dealing with morning sickness and all that unpleasant stuff 2 months into our marriage, and so that, to me, I think there is the 5 Love Languages book. I wish, if you haven't read it, read that. I wish I would have read that.
Yeah.
It talks about the in love period lasts, I think it's like 2 to 3 years from like when you first start falling in love.
I've heard a year.
Well, I think it's I think it's a little longer than that, but it sort of includes like the dating and period. It's not when you get married. It's kind of like when you fall in love. And there again, when depending on how long people's engagement is, a lot of it tends to line up just after you got married is kind of when that period ends. Or I think when you become pregnant with your first child is just kind of does that. I mean, that just changes things. So for us, that kind of like happened that way, in that we were in the midst of, my wife was pregnant, she had issues at her job, and I was in school, and it was tough. And then we just kept having kids, and you just never really had a chance to come up
to recover.
Yeah, you just there was never a spot where like, hey, let's take a time out and just focus on us. That was probably the biggest mistake by far that we made, is we were just constantly just trying to be good parents, maintain a household. I was trying to get through school and then find work, and we were always just kind of surviving. That it really wasn't until very recent that we realized that we needed to spend purposeful time on our relationship.
It took 20 years.
Yeah. And it's great now, but there again, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go relive the first 20 years. So to me, that is the thing is where you are at now. It just, your relationship is just naturally good, and you don't have to put effort into the two of you. But there will come a time, whether it's babies or just a certain amount of time, where that doesn't come naturally, and you have to you have to make time for each other, even when it feels like we don't have the time or the money or whatever to do that. That is the key crossroads that you're going to have.
And there's just things that come up that you can't expect. So like, we had lived together before we were married, and when we took our pre-Cana class, I think we had a compatibility test. Did you take a compatibility test? As far as like it was,
we had to do this thing with the diocese where like we had like a question given, like, I find this teaching or this behavior morally repugnant, or I'm okay with this action, and agree, disagree somewhat. And it was like, I think 200 questions, and we had like a counselor or like someone from the parish like supervised like our answers. And if there were any like
shoulder to see what she's writing down,
if there was any like disagreement or some type of weird tension, we would talk about that. So that's kind of I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, and that is what we did too. It wasn't actually those kind of questions, but it was about like the way that we wanted to live our lives. But it was a long Scantron sort of sheet where it was probably 200 questions. But we were one of the most compatible couples that they'd ever had, which is interesting. But so anyways, they told us that things wouldn't really change for us. The couple that we met with, and they were a really nice couple. They were probably in their 60s. But they told us that since we were so compatible, we already lived together, that things wouldn't really change for us until we had kids. And they're right. So we got married, and within a week, we were pregnant. And
you beat me.
Yeah, I mean,
is something in the water up there for you guys? God. You guys raised a certain way?
But
you guys
then unfortunately,
your diet?
We had a miscarriage, and that really was heartbreaking, and that took some time to get over too. And it was something that we never would have seen coming.
Yeah. I have someone close to me, a really good family friend. She just recently got married, and her and her spouse, they had a couple miscarriages, and it was really hard for them.
It is really tough.
Yeah. Well, they're older. They're older millennials, so that's naturally going to come with it. But yeah, it's really tried their faith in a good way, and it's really tried their marriage. And it really was a good example for me to see, like, oh, you can go through crap in your marriage at the beginning and still come out stronger.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not even so sure that it isn't a bad thing to experience that crap on the front end, but
9 kids in.
I don't know.
You say that with 9 kids in.
Yeah, it's funny how
want a kid to take one for the team.
Yeah, it's funny how time does alter your perspective, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that it's possible to really have a marriage that doesn't have
Turbulence.
those things that come up.
Well, yeah, it's two people living together, like literally sleeping together. Something's gonna come up.
Yeah, I mean, you're different people. As much as you love each other, you are
Mhm.
different people.
Oh,
And you
yeah.
don't always see the world the way your wife sees it.
Yeah.
That's
But
And
that's
she can't see it the way
that's
you see
something
it.
that's something I love about her, though, is that in that tension, there's like this beauty and there's this dynamic relationship that we can have, and there's that encountering the other from this different perspective that I really love about her. And she sees things that I don't, and that's something she sees. She sees a simplicity in things that I can't, for whatever reason,
Mhm.
given the situation. And that's just something great about her that I love. And
That's great.
That is great.
Sounds like you got lucky there and found someone.
yeah, I really did. Yeah,
So,
it's a blessing.
well, maybe we can get her on for the next one.
Does she know you're doing this?
Actually, I forgot to tell her that I was doing this.
I forgot.
I literally forgot to tell her.
He's already talking like a married man.
Yeah. Just you pick your story and you stick with it. I don't care what happens.
Yeah,
Once
don't change any detail.
No, this is your story. You stick with it.
I don't know if she's gonna find that convincing. Have you ever convinced your wife one on one of your stories?
Not very often.
It depends on what her thoughts are on the situation to begin with, though.
Yeah, you gotta learn how she processes and sees the world, and you gotta fit the narrative for that. So.
And even then, good luck to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Men and women, by and large, look at the world very differently.
Yeah.
Even you could love each other just as much, but her perception of reality and love and marriage it's just going to be different. Like, it's just the way that it is. It took me a long time to figure that out and realize that.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that too.
Yeah, I think we're both fortunate in that we kind of knew that, like, oh, men and women have different thinking patterns, so we tried to leverage that as much as possible in our relationship. And there were still times where there was still tension, because of course it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But
what was there tension about? I'm just wondering what people aren't
just twisting that night.
Yeah,
you're gonna put me in the hot seat, Jonah.
I am.
This is why we gave you a chance to keep the face off. Now it's too late. You're in too deep, buddy.
Just answer the question.
You got to ride the bull.
I'm in too deep. It's being recorded. We would just have different perspectives on. I mean, since we're dating, it's kind of different compared to when you're married. But we would just have different perspectives on just management of time, or something about how would we run this if we're married? What's important regarding the faith if we have kids? Not that caused any strife or anything, especially with the faith, but money stuff, that
Mm-hmm.
or just even marriage prep. Marriage prep is really, even prepping for a wedding is really difficult, even though ours is kind of more on the smaller scale. But yeah, I've really learned that she sees things differently, and especially in how she perceives something and how I perceive something is radically different. She will intuit something in something being said to her that I could never have picked up on. And it's not call it sixth sense, call it woman's intuition or whatever, but I've noticed it even when I say something to her, she'll intuit something that I didn't think of at first. and then I've had to reflect on it. It's like, oh yeah, I can see
It
that
won't
now.
change.
Yeah, it sounds like you're ready for marriage.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I think especially I've noticed, I don't know if this is common in other women, but like it's especially the little things that matter a lot to them.
Yep.
Like she called me out, like I think it was the other night, because like right now I'm starting a new job, I'm finishing up finals, so like right now I'm just in like focus mode of like getting all this crap done, of like signing papers, finishing an 8-page paper, going to have like meetings with my boss about like salary, insurance, and like school stuff for because I work at a Catholic school now, so I'm just kind of like in lockstep on that. And she's like, yeah, guys are just, you're in that mode right now of like you're just tuned on this, and you're just, everything else is just out of your periphery.
Yeah, that's what they say. We compartmentalize things. Like we focus on one thing and we can ignore the rest. And then women, it's different. It's
My wife does it all at the same time.
Yeah, it's like that shelf, like the shelf behind you. Like they got it all out there all at once. And that is you being aware of that and her being aware of that. Even being aware of it doesn't make it smooth sailing. But
oh yeah, no. I think for us a lot of it was just like she and I are very different in how we like communicate our stress and our anxiety, and like how she'll do it is radically different than mine. Whereas like for me, I don't know if this is like standard for all guys, but for me it's like if I have like a problem, or if I'm noticing a problem in her, I want to like address it right then and there. Whereas like she might not be ready to talk about it then, so she'll be quiet.
That is really difficult. Yes, that is a very common circumstance in marriage.
I think for me it's more just like I want to solve her problems, and I don't like seeing her frustrated.
Yeah,
so
you better learn.
She might not be ready to talk about it.
And that took me a long time to realize, but you just have to listen without telling her how to fix the problem. Like I think
a lot of the times they want just someone to talk to vent. I don't think they want someone to solve their problems right then and there. I think it's more just like, hey, look, I need to vent this to you. Just shut up and let me talk.
Yep. Man, you're wise beyond your years, I'll tell you that.
God.
You're going to be telling us like stuff in the future.
I mean,
you're going to
I mean, I still struggle with it too, because it's like, for me, it's like I want to solve it. Like I want to. I want to be like He-Man. I want to be like, I want to be like Luke Skywalker, saving the day for her and like be her.
Well,
like
because
like sometimes like she just needs me to just sit there and just listen to her. Because
what will likely happen, and the way it'll probably come up, is she'll share this concern, and the first time you'll have the good sense to just listen, right? And then next week she comes and she's talking about the same thing, and let's say you still have the good sense to listen, and then the third time you'll be like, well, why don't we do something about it, right? I mean, your instincts to be the problem solver will eventually get the best of you, and that just is it's just a cause of conflict. And I still step in it a lot. Like I'm not saying but it took me a long time to figure that out.
Yeah. I think for me, I think one fear I have is just being afraid of just like damaging our relationship or hurting her in some way. But I think really good advice I got from, where did I hear this from? I can't tell if it's like, I can't remember, but I know what they said. It was like, you're going to hurt each other. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to F up, and that's okay. And I tell myself that all the time. And I tell her that all the time, because she kind of has a similar fear of like, I just want to be the best partner I can for you. And like the thought of even like hurting you just like breaks my heart. But like, I try to tell her, like, look, we're going to hurt each other. Like we're human, like, and we're sinners. So we're going to mess up. But at least for me, what I tell her is like, it doesn't matter. Like, obviously it's going to hurt, but what I care more about is that you're sorry we communicate, and we just try to be better people from that, and we try to love each other through that.
One thing that I think I did wrong for a long time, and probably because I was wanting to be that problem solver, is I think for my wife at least, she would stop sharing these things with me, and then it would eventually just bottle up inside, and then it would just kind of erupt.
Yep, that happens too.
And I don't know if all women are like that or whatever, but I see now how that I was contributing to that, but it just kind of all comes out, and then that can recognizing that it happens, and that she's not trying to hurt you.
Yeah,
completely.
It's
gonna hurt. Like
it does hurt.
There's gonna be some things said that are gonna hurt unless you just.
Yeah.
But she might not mean it that way.
Yeah.
No, she doesn't. Yeah, even when we had arguments and things were said, it wasn't ever to that severity.
I would say it'll happen sometimes.
Things tend to pick up intensity after you're married.
Yeah, especially once you have kids. And that is for our marriage. Our pre-candid couple was right. Things didn't really change for us till after we had kids, and then things changed, and it just got more difficult. My wife was more focused on the children, which she should be, and less on hanging out with me. You know what I mean? That just happens.
You will probably become you will become the second tier, probably. I mean, it just happens.
It was a battle between me and the dog for the tier,
That's right.
Yeah. That's honestly one thing that we talked about. Like, we talked about kids because we were both really open to that. And we were worried about the idea of like, oh, would we ever have a moment where we deprioritized our relationship and focused more on our kids? And based on all the counseling we got, they said, still date yourself, still put your marriage first, because in doing that first, in prioritizing God, your spouse, and then your kids, you prioritizing your spouse over your kids will trickle down into having a better relationship and being a better father or a parent to your kids. So, I mean, it's one thing to say that right now because we don't have that problem, but I'm assuming it's a lot more difficult on the other side.
Difficult,
and I would say it's easier for us than our wives. Like there are like literal changes in chemistry that occur for a woman after she has a child, and so it's just different.
Yeah, it will be easier for you to say let's get a sitter in and let's go out for dinner than it probably will be for her. But
you never know. I mean, you guys have had a lot more discussion than we ever did before we were married. I'll say that, and you're very thoughtful. I mean, I am thoroughly impressed.
Yeah. Thank you. We try to be. I don't know. We're both kind of perfectionists. Like, we both want to like literally do the best we can and like try to impress. So I feel like that also comes at the expense of just like not letting our faults show and not letting us be human to some. Well, not letting our faults show and not, settling in the reality that we're human. We're going to make mistakes, and that's the great thing about marriage is that like you're literally carrying that cross together.
Mm-hmm. Yep, hopefully in the same direction. So
yeah, not opposite ways.
Oh God,
it's just life is hard. Like it is messy. Even when you do all the right things, so to speak, your faith is important. You go to mass. You're teaching the faith to your kids. It's really, really difficult, and it's very, very easy to let the intimate part of your life, not just the physical, but just the intimate part of your marriage, to slip, because there will just be almost an endless supply of demand on yourself from children and work and parish. Like just it I don't know why it very easily slides down the list because you're thinking, oh, we're okay. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
We can try something next week. So you do want to be very mindful of that, because it can slip down really unbeknownst to you until you realize, it's been 5 years we haven't gone out to eat together. Like that happens.
That happens.
So
Yeah, I mean, we kind of like the idea of doing like creative things in terms of just like whether it's for dating ideas or for like fun games we like to do when we're like in person rather than just like be on our phones or like whatever. So we like the idea of like if we have a lot of kids, God willing, like coming up with like creative ideas on how to like still date each other when we have like work and kids and bills to pay. So that's just something we're looking forward to. Obviously, we'll see what happens when we get there, but
One thing that's kind of funny is that in the Croatian tradition, when they get married, the priest doesn't celebrate it by saying they found the perfect person and they're lucky. He tells them they found their cross, and they need to do their best to carry and honor that cross. And
it's beautiful.
It is, and it's very true at times. I mean, it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always just like rainbows and unicorns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what we talked about early on. Like it's hard to, like, where I'm at now. It's 20 some years married, 9 kids. Like, our marriage is definitely the best that it's ever been. Would it be as good as it is now if we didn't go through all that? I don't know. Probably not. But I also don't want to go through that again. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think anyone will.
I'm glad it's behind me.
Yeah.
But I feel bad for someone else having to go through that. Like, part of me wants to like save other people from going through that if they can. But maybe
That's why I have this channel, man.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
And there is a beauty in looking back on the difficult times, as far as like how you persevered and overcame them, and now you're stronger on the other end. I mean,
yeah,
that's part of it too.
Yeah, I think for me, like, seeing that example, especially for men, is really important. Because I've just been really reflecting, like, as I'm getting closer to the date, it's like, oh, it's happening. It's not just like, oh, we're getting married, it's exciting, let's plan for this. Like, it's here, it's game time. So like really, I think for me, it's caused me to like really like check myself in terms of like, am I really ready for this? And like, am I really ready to just like literally give up my freedom, literally give up all of my individual autonomy for this person that I love, but also like I'm with this girl for life, like through thick and thin. And like it still kind of hits me like that's a big ask.
It's a big commitment. Yeah,
it's a big commitment. Like, it's not just like a contract for work. It's like something big, and like kids could come from this. So I still don't feel worthy of it at times. I still feel like I'm just like prepping myself up, just kind of hyping myself up, like, okay, we're gonna do this, even though I don't feel like I'm worthy of it. But I feel like I'm not alone in that feeling. Like, I don't feel like anyone's like, yeah, I'm ready for this. Like, I got this. Like, I'm totally worthy of this. Unless,
if Father Ripperger's right, no one's ready. If my view of reality is
we never really did a lot of
better.
Father Rip at all. We didn't read a single video or lecture from
keep
him.
that going as long as you can.
Yeah. I mean, Casti Connubii was interesting. So, yeah. We didn't really have we didn't get a lot of like those like conversations, because like everyone already assumed they were doing it, so they didn't talk about it. Yeah,
I feel like the marriage prep prepared us for like the first couple years after we're married, but after that it's a pretty wild territory out there.
You're kind of in uncharted waters.
I mean, in terms of like that part of the wedding night stuff, they don't really talk about it. I mean,
no one does. It's awkward. No one talks about it.
Yeah, I mean, it is awkward, but like,
here's your chance, buddy.
They kind of just assume you're young, you're hormonal, just go at it. We'll see what happens.
My wife was just picking on me about that last night because of her anniversary.
Mhm.
And she was picking on me about how I was so tired that I couldn't
Couldn't
we
do it.
didn't even do it.
I don't know if I believe you. I don't know.
We were that tired because it's such a big day.
I had an uncle that
The next day,
we have like, I think this is small, but like I can't fathom talking to multiple people after the wedding ceremony. Maybe I'm just being a guy, but it's just like I'm really tempted to like just ditch with her after the ceremony, but that would probably be a little bit rude.
it is one of the most beautiful days of your life.
Yeah.
We were actually just looking at our wedding album yesterday with the kids, and the kids were really excited about it. And you just relive all that, and it was an extremely beautiful day, and I'm very thankful for that. And it's great to be. It's just you. For me personally, I felt so much love that day. Like just not only for my wife, but just all the family that was there celebrating it. Like it was a really beautiful day.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
good.
we had a great wedding too, and we stuck around. We were very tired, like and we were excited, and we did all the stuff. But looking back, I would have been like, let's just go back and relax and sleep, get a good, and then
I think you're saying that with 40, with the mind of a 40-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, I know what it's like. I remember you waited all this time. I'm not waiting another hour for this. Right? But
No comment.
yeah, really, in hindsight of it, like we should have just chilled out and just got refreshed and had some time the next day. But this is the one thing, because this is my wife's family tradition. Like they would do gift openings the next day.
Oh yeah,
everybody's
there. Right?
That was sort of awkward. Like you just show up
To the bed,
the next morning
to the hotel room.
Yeah, they show up the next morning opening gifts, and everybody's looking
there
at you.
Looking at them.
Yeah, like yeah, we know what you guys were doing. Like I don't know, it's just a weird.
I think that was a tradition, like for the most part in our family too. We didn't do that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what you guys have planned or not, but
Interesting bunch.
Yeah. So do you have a honeymoon planned? Or are you going to go off and?
Yeah, we got a honeymoon plan. We got some time off of work for that. So
where are you going?
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Probably up to the northwest, Lake Town, just for about a week. I was so grateful for my boss. He was just like, "Oh yeah, go! Like I'm not gonna let you not go on honeymoon," because I was so worried about like getting a job that would let me take a week off after getting hired to go be with my wife.
Well, that's great. We'll enjoy that time.
Thank you.
Yeah. Have towels and lubricant.
I don't know.
I mean,
no one told me that. No one told me that, and I remember shopping for that on my honeymoon, and I thought this is really weird. So,
yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll consider that. Yeah,
I'm just piece of advice, buddy.
I don't think we needed all that towels, sure, but
well, you were more experienced.
Well, yeah, for better or for worse.
Yeah,
you just get older. You just say it off the cuff. You don't care what people think or hear.
If there's anything I wish someone would have told me, that would have been it. I wish I would have
pat you on the back, give you a jar of lubricant.
Yeah,
you'll need this.
Yeah, just take your time. Like take your time. You're going to be super excited. She's going to be tired. Just take your time.
I was too tired, man.
I didn't have that problem. Like,
I still don't know if I believe that.
I could have pulled an all-nighter.
That's true.
If I had to.
I don't know if I believe that.
No, because you spend the whole day talking to people.
Yeah, that is exhausting.
And dancing.
You're a dancer? You like to bust a move?
I did that night for sure. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it just sounds like just so much like talking to people and just like you waited this long. It's like, oh, there's like multiple people you got to talk to before you even think about leaving.
I would not rush out of that. Like I would stick around and
oh no, I won't be able to.
Connection. Yeah,
I won't be able to.
Don't shorten that night to get to the honeymoon suite and all that. I mean, I think you just it is a special day.
A beautiful day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
to that. And
So how much does it cost to have a wedding nowadays?
I mean, we did it kind of pretty cheaply. We did it for under 10 grand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most of that is the food, probably.
Yeah, most of it was food. Food, fees for the church, photography. Photography is a pretty big chunk too, because we wanted to have good photos and video.
Mhm.
Well, it is a pretty fair price.
They have like drones going in the church now.
We're trying to do it. We're trying to do a movie set. So
It
it's
was
gonna
black
be really
and
cool.
white back when I was getting married. There,
Uh-huh.
big old
You got,
flash.
you got your 3-piece suit, your top
Yeah,
hat, and your
That's right.
long flowy.
Everybody sit still for a minute. Don't move.
Pius the 12th there, so you can take your picture with you.
That's right. Anything else? This is your chance, buddy.
I can't think of anything else, honestly. It's like,
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
I can't, there's nothing else on my mind at the moment. Yeah, I literally can't think of anything else to.
Well, that's because you've been up since 3:30 in the morning. So,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Do you drink coffee yet?
A little bit, yeah. I got energy. It's fine.
Because I didn't drink coffee until after we had kids, and that's when I needed the coffee.
Yeah, we're both avid coffee drinkers, so
Well, there you go.
I got some first anniversary ideas, so yeah.
okay. Well, I'm excited to hear about it,
Mhm.
the wedding and all that, and just the adjustment and
Yeah.
It's
I'm excited for it, but I know it's going to be like a transitionary period for us because like I didn't think I was going to get married till like my late 20s, early 30s. So
your early 20s then?
25.
Okay, you're about a year older than I was. So yeah.
I think you have a speed on the kids side though, so I don't think anyone's going to take that record from you.
Well, if you're not using NFP, I don't know.
Yeah, you're on the fast track.
We were using NFP and we still had 9 kids, so I don't know what it looks like if there's no
goalie.
Yeah,
There's
no
no
governor
goalie.
on the motor at all. I don't know.
Well, we might miss, so might hit the crossbar.
Yeah. So I don't know. I wish you guys well, and I'm excited to talk to you again after you've been married for a while and
definitely
see how much.
And if we could do an interview with your wife, or maybe
that'd be fine. Yeah, we're kind of hoping we have a kid right away, so we'll see what happens.
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah, good luck to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Get ready.
Because it's just like being at the top of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Just waiting to descend.
Yeah.
We have to hand out like baby wipes to the teachers just because of dealing with kids and stuff happens. So I'm already looking at them like, maybe this brand might be better than another brand I'm seeing here. So
well, maybe before you have your first kid, we can do a little dad interview with you and get you ready for all that.
Oh yeah,
grease and grind.
All kinds of dad advice.
Yeah,
dad initiation.
Yeah,
it'd be fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Well, this has been fun. So, wish you the best. Thank you for doing this. We've been kind of looking for a guinea pig to talk to someone before they enter the holy throngs of marriage.
Happy to volunteer.
Yeah. So I'm excited to hear after you've been doing it for a while. So,
and I'll tell you what, man, you're far more prepared than I was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can just tell that you guys have talked and thought about a lot of different aspects of marriage that weren't even on our radar, to be honest.
That communication is important. I thought we were good communicators.
Yeah,
we weren't.
mm-hmm.
We still struggle. So
yeah, I'm not perfect either. I still have a lot to learn, and
she'll teach you then.
I mean, I don't want to. She's really good at letting me know. So I don't mean that. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, I like.
No,
we don't either.
We don't either.
For legal reasons, you have to say that.
To say otherwise.
You got to say that for legal reasons. Well, I guess we should. But being for real, I do genuinely appreciate when she calls me out. Like, because I do want to be the best man I can be for her. And
And that's true. I think that that
Mm-hmm.
is definitely true. Like we all do want to be the
Mm-hmm.
best we can be, and sometimes it seems like I'm
It's
doing
difficult.
everything I can, and it's not.
Not-
I'm not even there, and I still will it.
Yeah, that's
That's a
So-
tough place to be, but you get through it.
yep.
Mhm.
Alrighty.
All right.
Okay. Well, Sam, thank you. Good luck to you on your nuptials. Thank you, Jonah.
You bet. It was great
you.
talking to you, man.
Thank you,
Same here,
everyone,
man.
for listening.
Yeah.
Till next time, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good one.